Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and today we're going to be talking about Emio the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club. That's right, after the funny little week of teases, Nintendo revealed that actually we're not making a big budget horror game. What do you mean? The new console's just around the corner, we would have saved it for that. No, it is a new Famicom Detective Club, which is cool in its own right, to see such an old series just come back, you know? One that I feel like wasn't super highly requested to return. We had already gotten some remakes kind of out of nowhere 3 years ago, but getting a brand new entry, that's super cool. And I was interested in checking it out, but I wasn't sure if I could really do that. I never played the first two games in the series, either the Famicom versions or the remakes, so I was wondering if I really could. Then I saw like one thing online that said, oh yeah, you could totally play this game without knowing, and I was like, hey, screw it, why not? And honestly, yeah, I'll just start with like that. You can play this one without having played the other games. Go to your GameStop, your EB Games, your A&C, whatever local store you go to buy your video games, and just grab a copy of Emio Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club for $64.99 Canadian, because yeah, you don't really need to have played the first two. There's no physical version of those two either, which is unfortunate, but honestly, it's super first-timer friendly. There's like one character who I think the guy's like, oh, I remember you from the last game, and it's like, oh, I don't know who you are, but, you know, it's like a brief reference, and they mention, you know who that character is by the end of that conversation you have with him. I think there was also another reference to something that happened in the last game, and I just got to a part where the character makes another reference. I have not beaten the game yet, but I'm going to be honest, I can make a review of this game already. The game is 12 chapters long. I am on chapter 8. Unless the game takes a dramatic shift in narrative quality and tone, I'll be honest, this game is kind of alright. I'm not the biggest visual novel person, but I have played a handful of them, mainly the Ace Attorney series, and, you know, I've been hearing people say, oh, this is the game that'll fill that void. You've been waiting for Ace Attorney 7 for 8 years? Just play this game. It's the exact same kind of thing. It's not the exact same kind of thing. All you do in this game is talk to people. That is literally all you do. You will see a person and you will press one of 5 or 10 options, and that is just the one that you press. If you press the wrong one, they'll just not say anything, and then you just have to go press the right one. Like, it's not riveting gameplay whatsoever, which is fine. You know, obviously the narrative is the big drive here. And, you know, the premise sounds very engaging. There's been a murder, but this murder is it's clearly a serial killing. You know, some guy put a paper bag on a guy's head, but it's very similar to serial killings that occurred 18 years ago and they never caught the culprit. So now we're trying to figure out what's going on. This guy's also kind of tied to an urban legend. So what's going on? Did the guy copy the legend? Did the legend copy the guy? I don't know exactly what is happening here, but I want to know. And that was the thing that kept me going for most of the game. You know, the demo was great. The demo made me think, okay, the game's starting out slow, but it's going to really pick up soon. Then I got like 2-3 chapters in and I was like, oh, well, you know, like now it's going to start to pick up. Now it's going to start. And like I got one chapter where I felt like some real stuff actually happened. And it was supposed to, like, there was kind of a sad moment, but it was immediate. Like, it started off in a very, like very silly moment, and then just kind of went into being a little sad. I'll be honest, there's a lot more of, like, this game is very light. This game is so lighthearted. There is a lot of jokey jokes in this game. It's not very depressing or serious at all. People were like, this is going to be the darkest Nintendo game ever. Trust me, Famicom Detective Club goes hard. But there are more dick measuring contests in this game than, like, dark, depressing, scary moments. Like, seriously, I could not even count how many times the main character is pining over his coworker that he wants to date but has known for years and has never said anything about it, or is getting nervous because, oh, she's talking to this other guy. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to, like, go interrogate the guy and make fun of him and be like, oh, I bet you really want to see her in a school out. Like, it's so fun. Then you go meet another detective who's hitting on someone in the first chapter. Why is there more of this than actual depressing shit? I made that funny video about Emio like a month and a half ago, and, like, you know, I was, like, kind of looking forward to this game because I'm like, okay, I can't wait to put a face to the name, you know, like, have some more funny jokes to make about him. But dude, like, he's not in the game. He shows up at the start of the game to kill someone, and then he shows up, like, somebody's like, oh, I saw him in chapter 6. We are 8 chapters into a 12 chapter game. He has not done shit. There has not been a second murder. There has not been a third murder. Look, again, the game could go crazy. The game could go absolutely crazy in, like, any moment. And honestly, I don't know if this review is going to go up before or after I finish. Maybe I'll have a little extra segment in the end to explain my thoughts on the ending and such, because that's the one thing I have heard. That's the saving grace that's keeping me going. that apparently the ending is really crazy and it's gonna really make you look differently at this guy, you know, like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's very weird. It's very, very weird. And that's not to say I'm not enjoying the narrative, you know, like, I want to know what's going to happen. You know, I want to know who the killer is. I think it's a whodunit. I'm pretty sure it is. You know, there's a few suspects in my mind who I think will just probably end up being Mr. Smiling Man, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they have some screen time as the titular Smiling Man, or at least have a mental breakdown that I could laugh at a little bit. Like, I don't know. All I have right now is, the funny paper bag man. What's his thing? Oh, he chokes you. That's his thing. Also, he's like a grappler. That's what he'd be like if they put him in Smash. Man, I don't even know. Okay, like, look, Sakurai said he had like a shower thought of putting Ayumi Takibana in Melee. Dude, there was a reason it was a shower thought. The hell would she do? What would this woman do? All you do is talk to people in this game. I don't understand. Like, it's so weird. This series is very odd. Why did this come back? Like, why did this get a brand new entry? Probably because it was cheap and easy. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. This is actually a very pretty visual novel. I'll admit it. I like the visual style a good amount. I think the UI is great. I think the sound effects great. I think the music's great. The characters themselves are a little weirdly animated. At first, I thought they were actually 3D models, but then, you know, it looks more like they're kind of just VTuber-esque rigs. Like, you know, there's maybe a little bit of depth, but you can't spin them around and there'll be, like, stuff. Like, there's a model, but the model has textures on top. You know, whenever they change poses, there's an animation. They're always moving. They're not just static images, but whenever they change poses, there's kind of a fade in, fade out because they didn't fully animate it. It's very odd looking. There is one part of the game where you are literally just sitting in the passenger seat of a car for I don't know how long, probably like 10 minutes as you cycle through dialogue over and over and over and over again, talking to this same stupid detective assistant. I don't give a shit about you. I already forgot his name. Was it it was Kamihara? I think that was his name. I don't know. That was it. Kamada was the guy who's the inspector. Right. I see. I remember who it is. I remember Kuze and G Corner. Yeah, G Corner, my favorite character from Nintendo. I can't wait for him to get in the next Smash. But man, this is just weird. All right, like honestly, part of me was kind of hoping that there would be something more to this. I thought this was bigger than it is, but from what I've heard from people who are disappointed in the game, it seems like they were expecting the game to have more, like, to be more modernized. It's the first entry in a series in 35 years. You'd expect there to be more than just talking to people and moving a cursor around a picture, but no, it's the same thing, which is it's fine. Like, it gets the job done, but like, man, I don't know. If they do another entry in this series, I'd love to see a more interesting approach, maybe a more investigative approach. I know they aged up the characters a little bit. They're not in high school anymore, and I'm pretty sure they were in the last game. So, you know, maybe the next game they're even older. Maybe they're going around doing forensics and shit. I know that's not what they do. They're the detective agency, detective club. I don't really know. Their Regan-ass mentor hasn't showed up in like 10 chapters. I only played 8. He's barely in the game. I don't know who he is. I probably should have played the other games. I probably would have gotten to know him a little better. But yeah, I don't know. This has been a very rambly review. Honestly, more of an impressions than anything. But like, when you're this far into the game, it's like, okay, I know what I'm going to think of it. Even if it wins me over, that's still like, what, 2/3 of the game that were a certain way? Come on, like, I can't give it that much credit. But you know what? Maybe it will turn around in the end. Who knows? I'll definitely add on to the video if it does. Otherwise, this has been G Corner, man. I will see you guys on the next one. Keep yourselves cornered for more on Nintendo and gaming and other things as a whole. Bye-bye.